Welcome to the Daily Exchange. Guys, we're talking about what is Bitcoin Cash and everything to do with it. Bitcoin Cash is a cryptocurrency based on but different to the world's first cryptocurrency, Bitcoin. Bitcoin Cash was created due to a disagreement in the Bitcoin community which caused a factional split, leading to the creation of Bitcoin Cash. Essentially, one group wanted to make certain changes to the Bitcoin code whilst the others, they didn't want to do that. And as a result, the competing camp split off from Bitcoin and created a new cryptocurrency based on the Bitcoin code. That's Bitcoin Cash. Although this new coin has some tweaks and changes that the original Bitcoin does not. This process of creating a new cryptocurrency or blockchain by splitting off from another is called a hard fork. So the two separated. So that makes Bitcoin Cash a fork of Bitcoin. So it's separate. Essentially, it means that it's based on the same code as Bitcoin. However, it includes some changes, which is why it is a new coin, I guess, and obviously a new blockchain. These two blockchains now, they run separately, and they've got separate miners. They're different coins, and they don't cross over. Hard forks are obviously popular. All popular coins like Bitcoin happen often, but you don't hear about them because they rarely have much support, and unfortunately, they're kind of quickly forgotten about. But Bitcoin Cash, on the other hand, is perhaps the most successful fork of Bitcoin. It is known for its faster settlement times and low transaction fees, which is where the cash part of it, and that in the name, I guess, comes from. Now, we'll explain some more of the pros and cons of Bitcoin Cash, where it's used, and why people like to buy and trade it, right after this. Okay, welcome back. Now we're talking about forks now with Bitcoin Cash. What is it, and what is a soft fork and things like that? Okay, so before we begin any discussion about Bitcoin Cash, we need to understand this fork idea. So there are two types of forks in blockchain: a soft fork and a hard fork. Let's start with the soft fork. A soft fork is a backwards compatible change to the underlying computer code or protocol that powers the blockchain. So that is, old software can understand the new software, right? So it can still talk to each other. Remember that blockchains are the digital ledger on which most cryptocurrencies, such as Bitcoin, Ethereum, Ripple, or XRP, are stored. The blockchain obviously is stored on a series of distributed nodes and servers, right? So it's distributed like a ledger. Now, in a soft fork, old nodes will be able to read and understand the new software. So if something changes on that one, then the other people that are holding that with the nodes, they can still understand it. However, nodes running with the new software will only talk to the other nodes running the same new software. So they need to upgrade. They need to just upgrade to the next piece of software. This means that obviously if enough nodes start running the new software, the blockchain maintained by the old node will obviously and eventually be phased out. Essentially, you get a soft transition to a new blockchain with new rules. Soft forks are fairly routine occurrences in cryptocurrency, and most users are unaware of them when they happen. So let's talk about what is a hard fork. Now, a hard fork is much more substantial software update. So it's a completely different one. So the soft one, it's going to change, but they can still run and still upgrade and talk to each other. It's like when your phone upgrades or your computer upgrades, whereas a hard fork is much more different. And it requires permanent departure completely of the old version of the blockchain, right? So a fork happens, this blockchain and that blockchain won't talk to each other. And hard forks are not compatible. And the results basically in the creation of this new blockchain like Bitcoin Cash. Now, as you can imagine, hard forks are less common than soft forks because they require a lot of coordination and implementation and can cause issues in the process. They tend to be highly publicized in order for the distributed and centralized, decentralized community to implement the changes that needs to sort of, take place for this to happen. Hard forks occur for the number of, a different set of reasons. For example, a hard fork might be needed to implement new privacy features or change the way that the blockchain has its consensus, so it reaches consensus. In these cases, the hard forks are agreed upon ahead of time by an overwhelming majority of the members in the community and are said to be uncontentious hard forks, right? So everyone's on board with it. The community agrees to move over to, and support the new blockchain, so the old one fades away slowly. While, I guess the new chain is created, only one chain is taken forward in the future, right? So the new one forks off and that's the one that goes. The old cryptocurrency is morphed into the new one and the only one, I guess, cryptocurrency is supported at the end and the fork process continues on. Whereas contentious hard forks, so where there's a divide of the community, is very different, right? So in the uncontentious one, that same coin continues on and everyone's okay. The contentious one is different. A contentious hard fork occurs when the community is unevenly divided, or they don't agree on the implementation of the new software. So some nodes on the network continue to support the old chain, where it keeps chugging along like normal, while the other nodes fork off and create a new chain. This is what happened with Bitcoin Cash, right? So you had Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash went off this way. 2 blockchains are now created and 2 cryptocurrencies. They're 2 different ones. And they've gone on so far that now they don't talk to each other. It doesn't cross over. The legacy chain, which is Bitcoin, and the fork chain is Bitcoin Cash. Part of the reason hard forks like this are considered contentious is that they split up the mining community. This means there are fewer miners available to secure each chain, effectively weakening each chain until more miners can join the respective networks. It's generally considered a bad thing, although no major security issues have resulted from the Bitcoin Cash hard fork. Now, what makes Bitcoin Cash different to Bitcoin? So Bitcoin Cash is BCH, and then you've got Bitcoin as BTC. What makes it different? So I guess, and why did this community split up? It's an important question. Well, Bitcoin Cash was led predominantly by a group of business people such as Roger Ver, Jihan Wu, Craig Wright, who wanted to increase the block size of Bitcoin and its blockchain. Increasing the block size allows for more transactions to go into it, right? So Bitcoin itself, the original has a 1 megabyte, and then this one wanted to increase. Bitcoin Cash forked off and they wanted to increase it to 8 megabytes. So Bitcoin Cash is 8 megs, Bitcoin is 1 meg. And that was at the time of the fork. Since then, Bitcoin Cash has undergone another hard fork and it's resulted in 32 megabyte blocks, as well as the creation of another cryptocurrency, Bitcoin SV. If you'd like to know more about Bitcoin SV, check out the link in the description of this video. So we're going to talk about that later, but what does increasing the block size do? Because it's an important question. Now, because a Bitcoin block is mined every 10 minutes, increasing the block size allows for more transactions to each block. This effectively means that transactions will be processed faster and cost less. So when it boils down to it, Bitcoin Cash features faster and cheaper transactions than Bitcoin. Why did Bitcoin Cash split from Bitcoin? So faster and cheaper transactions sounds pretty good, right? Why wouldn't you want to make that notorious, make it faster? That's what Bitcoin is. It could be, I guess, seen as the Bitcoin blockchain to be quite slow, and it has, clogged up when there's lots of transactions. And I guess this is where it really comes down to. It's both politics and technology, right? Why they split. Bitcoin Core, that's the BTC community that supports the Bitcoin blockchain. And essentially, Core felt that increasing the block size was only a temporary fix of Bitcoin's scaling issue and could introduce other issues. For example, larger blocks require more storage, and going from 1 meg to 8 megs means 8 times increase in the storage capacity. Now, because every node that verifies the Bitcoin blockchain needs to store a copy of the blockchain and all the blocks mined on it, there was concern that given enough time, only well-funded mining pools would be able to afford nodes large enough to store the blockchain, and in turn would centralize Bitcoin more. Another complaint from Core was increasing block sizes would only kick the can down the road. That is, the solution would only be temporary. If the network continued to grow, then the block size would need to be increased again and again and again to keep up with demand. Instead, Core argued that Bitcoin should look at other methods to scale, such as there's something called SegWit and sidechains such as Lightning and liquid. Now, there's been some recent news about that. To learn more about Bitcoin plans to scale, check out our ultimate guide to Bitcoin in the description below. Now, who supports Bitcoin Cash? So the next question is, if the community split, who still supports it? Roger Ver is perhaps the most well-known figure associated with Bitcoin Cash. Ver is one of the earliest investors in cryptocurrency, first purchasing Bitcoin in as early as 2011. He has invested in companies such as Ripple, which issue the XRP coin, the website blockchain.info, and the cryptocurrency exchange Kraken. He currently runs the bitcoin.com exchange, so the actual website, bitcoin.com. Bitcoin.org is the original Bitcoin website. Bitcoin.com is Bitcoin Cash, as well as a powerful mining pool, which is the same name, bitcoin.com. At the same time, publication, his bitcoin.com mining pool, at the time of this publication, the bitcoin.com mining pool has about 10% of Bitcoin Cash mining in the past 7 days, according to CoinDance data. Now, another influential supporter of Bitcoin Cash is Jihan Wu, the co-founder of Bitmain. Bitmain is the world's largest manufacturer of cryptocurrency mining hardware, right? Makes those ASICs. Big, powerful miners, which also owns. They also, the miners protect Bitcoin. Right? They're a big deal, I guess, in protecting and ensuring the Bitcoin blockchain is safe. Now, Bitmain also owns powerful BTC.com mining pool. At the time of publication, right now, BTC.com accounts for about 25% of Bitcoin Cash mining and 19% of Bitcoin's mining. So 25% of Bitcoin Cash and 19% of all of Bitcoin's mining. Now, when Bitcoin Cash was created, Craig Wright was also another supporter of the cryptocurrency. Since then, however, he's gone on to launch another cryptocurrency called Bitcoin SV, which was hard forked from Bitcoin Cash. So we had Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, and then we had Bitcoin SV. So it's hard forked. So who accepts Bitcoin Cash? Now, obviously, any cryptocurrency, this is an important question, especially one that wants to serve as digital cash, is where can you spend it? According to cryptocurrency publication CCN, in January 2019, Bitcoin Cash was accepted directly by over 945 online retailers and about 670 brick-and-mortar stores. Then there are popular services such as BitPay, Purse.io, Alipay, and Travala, which allow you to pay for a wide variety of goods and services, using Bitcoin Cash. You can actually use Bitcoin Cash also at Bitmain when you're buying miners. But that's not to say that the retailers accept Bitcoin Cash. Rather, these intermediary services take Bitcoin Cash from the customer and then convert it into dollars immediately. So that's an important consideration. A rather famous case of this is the recent partnership between AT&T and BitPay, which allows AT&T customers to pay their bills using Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash. While it's not AT&T accepting directly the actual cryptocurrency, it's quite an exciting development for cryptocurrency adoption. So how do you get Bitcoin Cash? So now you understand how Bitcoin Cash is and what it's all about. You might have decided that you want to get some. There are a few ways to get your hands on some BCH. The first, you might want to, you might already have some. If you own Bitcoin, I guess in the time of 2017, August 1st, during the hard fork, you might already have some Bitcoin Cash. Any Bitcoin holders you had, or holdings you had at the time, anyone who was as well, generated an equal amount of Bitcoin Cash as you had as Bitcoin. The same private keys associated with your Bitcoin wallet can be used to access equal holdings in Bitcoin Cash. Now, if you weren't lucky to get some for free from the hard fork, then you can do what the rest of us have to do and purchase it from an exchange or a merchant or a broker. Almost all major exchanges and retailers support Bitcoin Cash, including Coinbase, Binance, Huobi, CoinSpot, and Kraken. You can find reviews of those exchanges in the description in the video below. And there you'll also find some helpful step-by-step tutorials on how to buy Bitcoin Cash with fiat currency using exchanges like Coinbase and CoinSpot. The other way you can get a hold of Bitcoin Cash, like many other cryptocurrencies, is by mining it. Bitcoin Cash has a healthy mining community with profits to be made for those that want to put time into getting set up properly, and you get paid in Bitcoin Cash. It's also supported by most major mining pools, which means you can join a pool to increase your chances of earning a block and getting some Bitcoin Cash as well. Bitcoin Cash is a successful hard fork of Bitcoin which brings speed and low cost to the Bitcoin protocol. It's supported by some of the industry's biggest players and can be used to pay for goods and services around the world. If you find this video helpful, please make sure you give it a like and consider subscribing so that we know which videos to keep making more of. As I mentioned before, there are tons of useful guides check out the description below. Go to finder.com/cryptocurrency. Check out all the cryptocurrency content there. You'll find our ultimate guide to Bitcoin Cash, exchange reviews, as well as an in-depth comparison between Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin. All right, thanks very much, guys, and do subscribe and do follow us. That's a daily exchange and everything to do with Bitcoin Cash. Yeah!